What's going on, guys? Come on in. Come on in. We got a Monday filled with intrigue, insanity, and a whole lot of speculation, guys. All right. So, if you guys have been watching the news and anything going on, you would know right now that World War III hasn't officially started, but in most eyes has officially started. You have Israel right now getting prepared to take strikes from Iran. Iran is upset, reeling over the assassination of a top Hamas political figure. All right, Iran has already stated that the red line has been crossed, and this is where we're at. All right, so you guys got to understand where we're at. I do have the news articles. First and foremost, welcome to the Deep State Talk Show. I'm your host. I'm getting better at this. I should have announced it earlier, but whatever. But I got some news articles to talk about. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Today. Excuse me. I'm still getting online, getting myself up. It ain't tonight, but we may do another one if something pops off good. All right. So pulling on over. All right. Here we are. Here's what sparked the whole issue. Was killed in Iran, a strike that risks triggering all-out regional war. All right. So let's go over this. So this is what's pretty much escalated all the tensions overseas right now. No other way to put this, but this was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. No pun intended. Hamas top political leader was killed Wednesday by a pre-dawn airstrike in Iranian capital, Iran, and the militant group said blaming Israel for a shock assassination that risked escalating into all-out regional war. Iran Supreme Leader vowed revenge against Israel. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, "We'll exact a very heavy price for any aggression against us on any front," but did not mention the killing. There are challenging days ahead, he added. All right. So the man that was killed is Ismail Haniyeh and other Hamas leaders of the group from the October 7th attack, right? That happened in southern Israel. All right. So this is part of that. But what's pushed this so far is that on one side, Iran is saying it was unwarranted, which it's war. There's no such thing as being unwarranted in a war. And on the flip side, Israel feel like it's his God's given right to protect itself. I'm not saying that they don't have that. I'm just saying, as we've been listening to the tabloids and the speculation, we know that it's been bouncing back and forth with the word of genocide and fair rule. Now, it goes to say that the International Criminal Court of Justice or International Court of Justice ruled in Palestine's favor about 2 weeks ago, stating that Israel should vacate the land. Excuse me. All right. So a lot of this is playing into this, but it's not being mentioned on like a whole lot of platforms that this is kind of what's leading into all of this. Now, the fact that they do have to get off the land has been a question for the last 80 years since World War II and the Balfour Declaration. Okay. So when that Balfour Declaration came out, for the atrocities that were committed during World War II, they were given land and their own free land in Palestine. It started off very small, then eventually Israel began to colonize and take over that land, pushing the people into the Gaza Strip and other parts of the land. Gaza Strip is known as an open-air prison. So all of this that I just said is basically a brief synopsis as to why 80 years later the whole entire Middle East is mad. Now, listen to this. The assassination was potentially explosive amid the region's volatile, intertwined conflicts because of its target, its timing, and the decision to carry it out in Tehran. Most dangerous was the potential push Iran and Israel into confrontation if Iran retaliates. The U.S. and other nations scramble to prevent a wider, deadlier conflict. Okay, now I got some footage stating, from overseas, take it with a grain of salt, that when the U.S. met with Iran and was basically giving them information to kind of cool off Iran's anger. And again, I can neither confirm nor deny this is true. I just think it's viable information to take in. All right, give me a second. I'm going to play that information information.
Held a secret meeting about the war in Tehran after US officials US officials then revealed to the Iranian delegation a part of Netanyahu's plan all of the Gulf states, all of the Arab countries, Turkey, and even African countries would be involved in this great war. And Netanyahu was able to get support from key decision makers and very powerful lobbies in the United States for his demonic plan by promising US companies excited because these construction companies hundreds of billions of dollars, if not $1 trillion. That why key decision makers as a sign of goodwill, the Netanyahu.
All right, guys, I'm back. Listen, now, in the event that that is true, if it is true, I say if it is true, then America's basically trying to get out of this. Now, it goes to say last week or a couple weeks ago, there was a meeting between Netanyahu and Kamala Harris, Biden, and Trump. Now, this conversation is starting to make sense with this conversation when Netanyahu showed up. Okay. Think about this. All right. What's to say Netanyahu got in there and was trying to push this war on everybody? And while he spoke to Congress, there was a lot of clapping. Woo! A lot of clapping, right? Okay. Now think about when you're sitting there clapping, what are you saying? This man's going to get us killed. This man is out of his mind, guys. All right. So think about this. When Netanyahu showed up, he came with a business proposal and said, hey, this is the Great War where we can seize the Middle East and we can go ahead and start rebuilding in the future for a greater Israel or a greater American alliance in the Middle East. All right. Now, why is this a terrible idea? Okay. Now, if you think about something from a geography standpoint, if you look at where Israel's located, it's not exactly that big and it's completely surrounded in the worst way possible, right? The amount of damage that would have to be done for those contracts to be upwards of potentially billions and trillions of dollars is insane because they're going to have to basically devastate that region to get this contract in quote unquote Great War. All right. Now, let me get back to my news stuff. All right. We're lining something up. We're lining something up right now. All right. Now, remember I said he talked to Kamala, Trump, and Harris. Okay. Harris had a very stern stance stating that she wanted the hostage deal done and a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and area like that, right? So Netanyahu was rubbed wrong about that, and I had mentioned that, but maybe I didn't think anything was to it. I didn't want to speculate too much, but now it's starting to make sense because maybe, just maybe, he brought this up in that conversation with all of them, and they were like, absolutely the hell not, sir. Negative. Why would you do that? So when the gentleman says that Israel's gone rogue, think about the conversation a couple weeks ago with our president and all our Congress till today. and we have the assassination of a top political leader in Hamas, and they've already killed one from Iran a few months ago, right? All right. Now, Joe Biden, this is coming from the Jerusalem Post. This is the truth, but there is some information that remains to be discovered. We need to find out what the exchanges are, because there are exchanges happening. Apparently, whatever is going on, there's a truth to it. There are some exchanges on the phone. There are people meeting. The people that went to Iran came from Turkey, which means only people who are going to hop on a plane and fly over there as soon as an incident happens would be the Alphabet Boys. Easily, guys. Okay, follow me. Biden scolds Netanyahu and hostage deal talk. Stop bullshitting me. All right. Conversation between Prime Minister Netanyahu and U.S. President Joe Biden that took place this week saw the Israeli leader telling Biden, "We are making progress with the negotiations. Send a delegation." Biden's blunt reply was, "Stop bullshitting me." In addition to a tense exchange between Netanyahu and U.S. officials, new information has surfaced that Netanyahu's discussion with Israeli security leaders, IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halavi told Netanyahu, "There are conditions for the deal. I believe it's right to enter negotiations and achieve the best possible outcome." That has completely ended now that this man has taken a strike on a leader. All right. Biden has told this man, reports on Telegram and other geopolitical sites that I'm seeing, Blaze Report and DD Politics, they're saying, Netanyahu's saying, Biden is saying, I lost my train of thought. Biden is saying you are on your own after making this decision to strike the Hamas leader. Without proper clearance, they can't help you. But we know right now they're getting 4,000 Marines ready to go over there. We know right now Iran has told all the Muslim countries, if you step your foot in this, we will treat you as we treat Israel. These are Iran's words right now. All right. Listen to me. Iran has made it very clear to Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and any supporting faction to the U.S. and Israel that if you do not stand down, you will be a part of this war. All right. Iran is not playing around. Reports are out now that they're getting ready to strike. Israel is waiting for an imminent strike right now to the IDF, the Iron Dome. It's going down, guys. All right. Now, that's not the only problem. Hard pause. I had to think. It's not the only problem. India is also rioting. Prime Minister has resigned in their country, and they are basically running amok. Reports are out of certain areas in that region that once the Prime Minister resigned for whatever reason, this is a new conflict. I have just seen this one this morning that once he resigned, they went to rioting. Who else is rioting right now? The UK. The UK is also rioting, and I have footage of the UK's riots, and they look pretty brutal. It also looks very organized from a deep state conversation. All right. It still seems that the hand is at play no matter who's there. No matter. All right. But before we move, the US is trying to figure out what to do. You guys got to remember, we're not too far off from the riots. We got the elections coming up. Harris is going to be the Democratic nominee. Apparently, that's what they're saying. I feel like they would have already named it. She says she has enough delegates and all of that now. Great. But this is what we're left with. All right. So we're on Axios right now. We're still covering the Middle East. It says top U.S. general in the Middle East as U.S. and Israel prepare for possible Iran attack. general in charge of American forces in the Middle East, arrived in the region on Saturday as preparations continue for a possible attack against Israel from Iran in retaliation for the assassinations of senior Hamas and Hezbollah leaders, two U.S. officials said. Why does it matter? General Karula's trip to the region was planned before the recent escalation between Israel, sure, Iran, and Hezbollah, but he is expected to use the trip to mobilize the same international regional coalition that defended Israel against the attack from Iran on April 13th. 3 U.S. and Israeli officials said that they expect Iran to attack Israel as early as Monday. Today is that day. So again, guys, be on preparedness. They've already told people to stay out of Lebanon. They're telling people if you're in Iran and you don't want to be there, go ahead and get out. Everyone's evacuating in the Middle East regions as we speak. Egypt is also involved in this. They're going to stand with Iran. Egypt has already said it. They're going to stand with them. I told you guys months and months ago, this was a horrible idea, because if it's one thing for your proxy groups to get involved in the way that they do, Hamas, Hezbollah, all these little factions, Taliban, everyone's getting laced up, getting paid, getting ammo, getting guns. This isn't anything new, right? Well, what makes it unique now is when it's national interests or international interests. When I say national to the region, national, Iran's national military, or Egypt's national military, like these groups are going to get involved. Now, also, Turkey is an oddball. What do we say about them? All right. So behind the scenes of this, it says Jordan will be a key stop on his trip. The Jordanians played a significant role during the April 13th attack by intercepting Iranian drones that centered their territory headed for Israel, and by allowing U.S. and Israeli jets to use their airspace to intercept Iranian drones. The U.S. hopes the same will happen again if needed. That's a very dangerous game Jordan's is playing right now. The Jordanians are stuck in the middle, literally, because on one side of them is Israel and the other side is Iran. So if Jordan does not back Israel, it's over. I'm telling you now, they do not have the power and the strength to do this. They do not have the means to do this. Even with America's help, they can't do it. Russia's already stated this past weekend that they are willing to come down there also. Yes, this is true. Russia has already stated they have no problem jumping in this. You're watching, a little circle be formed around Israel right now, and they're stuck because now tensions have been escalated. And if it is true that they've gone rogue, then that would leave them on their own. America's going to try their damnedest, I believe, to sit there and help them. But me personally, I don't think they got a chance. And I'm going to be real with you, because we're talking Iran, we're talking Hezbollah, we're talking Hamas, we're talking Houthis. Egypt is going to jump on the side of Iran because they're Muslims. As much as they may dislike each other on a political level, but if it comes down to us against them or them against Israel, they're going to pick themselves over the lesser faction, because Iran is the head of that area. Once Iran opens its big mouth and it says, hey, we're getting in this, they've already declared that they have nuclear weapons. Again, this could all be propaganda. This could all be the machine. But I do know right now, Iran is not BSing. From the Telegram channels, the other different media outlets, all signs point at Iran right now, okay? This is where it's at. This is how it's going to happen. We're going to keep a watchful eye on this in the Daily Rabbit Hole, because it matters. Because what happens over there, they're holding us directly responsible. And if it is true that America gave up 10 Mossad agents to Iran, you got to assume Israel is quite pissed right now. And we all know what happens when Israel gets upset and they don't get their way. Okay? This is just a known thing in history. If they do not get their way, they're going to be highly upset. And when they get highly upset, they're not going to be pleasant. They're not going to be pleasant, guys. All right. Now we're moving along. We're going to get through this fairly quickly. All right. But before we get to our next news article, please feel free to follow the Daily Rabbit Hole on all platforms. Feel free to donate. Want to say thank you for watching, and we appreciate you all. Follow, share. Like the Rumble page, follow the channel. I'm on YouTube. As you can see above my head, you can see all my little stuff popping up. Guys, go ahead and follow me, all right? Thank you. All right, we're on the UK riots. All right. So this past weekend, if you've been, maybe taken out of the program, enjoying your life, whatever, but anyone's phone's been pretty much buzzing with the UK riots and the migrants and the far right citizens of England and the UK rioting, beating each other up, attacking each other, burning stuff. Cops are fighting people out there. And again, I mentioned this is happening in India too. You're not hearing much about Paris right now because Paris has the Olympics. It's a blackout pretty much everywhere in Paris, minus the Olympic coverage. All right. Please don't ever think that the people of Paris or the French are still out here speaking their mind and rioting. All right. They still have their issues. But UK took center stage on the global news level, and rioters basically attacked a hotel that was used to hold the asylum seekers. Worst UK disorder in years being stated from CNN. Now, take all this with a grain of salt. It is coming from CNN. All right. I have other sources. I have Sky News. I have Telegram. We got a little bit of source, but I want to just mention the article itself because you're watching the global instability happening. This is the global destabilization. All right. This goes back to the whole plan of bringing the deep state cabal in, the new world order, and all of this. Everyone's going through their emotions. You got to understand, right? There are different factions in play right now. All right. So while we're stuck in the US trying to figure out who's going to run for president properly and who's going to win it, and if we're going to survive the outcome of it, UK is rioting because of all the migrants that came over there. Same problems we're having right now. Same exact problems. Okay. Now I got about 2 minutes worth of footage that I want you guys to look at. And this is basically captured from different places, different phones all over the UK. All right. Again, some of this stuff is graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. You will see violence. You're going to see some acts of inhumane people, and you're going to hear foul language. I just want to put that out there. All right, guys.